So, welcome back to the garden in Neath, South Wales on this beautiful sunny spring day. So, have you ever made changes in the garden and then slept on it and thought, that's not right, things have got to be changed? Well, I've done exactly that. So as you know, this week we had the new Agave Ovatifolia back through the post and I potted it into a new pot. Well, I've decided since then that it needs to go in the ground. So out is going to come the yucca, the gloriosa, and in that spot is going to be the agave, as I found out that it's easier to look after than I originally thought. So let's go and have a look at some of the changes that I've made in the garden. So the first thing that you'll probably notice that I've changed is that I've top dressed now the Acer, and this one here is the Acer by Who, and it's got lovely orange stems on this in the winter months. So I have got a plant in there just covering up the earth, so that will fill out lovely now throughout the season. So where Tony's agave was, I've taken that out and just replaced that with a mangave. So I've had a little bit of a tidy up with this plant, and there's some lovely colouring on this plant, and I even managed to get a little pup. So that now is in the greenhouse. The Agave Americana, that's still in the pot. And I will say I'm really liking that now, just to frame the garden. And it's the first thing I see now as I come out of the back door. So looking now at the centre bed, and you will see that that now is where the Agave Ovatifolia has been planted. So as you know, that's in plenty of John Innes compost and grit, and I've tried to plant it there on a slight angle, as you can see. Now that is in full sun, so with the added drainage it should be okay now through the winter months. And I thought I can always pop just a plastic cover on that on the most frosty evenings. But after doing my homework, I realised that these are one of the toughest agaves that you can get for the UK garden. And this is also known as a Wales tongue agave because of its lovely broad leaves there. And just look at that. So I think it'll do a lot better in the ground than it will in the pot. So Tony's yet to see it in the ground, as I changed this over this morning, but I'm sure he'll like it there. So you'll also notice that around the sides of this raised bed, I've now planted the grasses that I bought. And there's also as well one there. So these grow up to be about 90 centimetres tall. And I do like a grass in the garden, just to add a little bit of vertical interest. And just there, just starting to grow now, is the Verbena bonariensis. So that is also going to add a little bit of height into this area. But overall, everything is enjoying this sunshine. And it's a lovely day today. So walking up the garden now, you can see that on the left hand side, that is where I've planted gloriosa. I've also added in plenty of grit into this area. So that is also now in full sun, and there's a space there now for it to grow upwards, as this will grow to be about 1.5 to 2 meters tall. And it's in really good health, this, after it's been overwintered in the greenhouse. But hopefully it'll enjoy that new spot there. So as I walk now down the other side of the garden, around this bend here, you can see that that is where the Gloriosa now is. And the Tetrapanax, that is just growing up now so tall. And just look at them leaves. It's really enjoying the sunshine. So continuing down the path, you will also see here, just look at that. And that is a little pup that's come away from the main Tetrapanax. And that is growing really large. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. As it grows, it can't really stay here, as it's right in the way of this Trachycarpus virginii. Just look how close they are together. So I'll have to think of something later on now in the season of where I'm going to put this pup. The flowers on the John Phillips now are just starting to emerge. And that's really filled out wonderful. Lovely with some honey scented flowers. And they're such a lovely looking plant. Just look at that, they're so delicate. So with this extra warmth, you can see now that the rhododendron buds are just starting to open here next to the John Phillips, and that's going to be lovely pink flowers on there by the looks of it. So coming into the greenhouse now, you can see that there's a little pup there of the Agave Americana, and behind that is just a little pup that I took off this morning from the Mangave. So all of the heuchera cuttings are doing really well. They're still growing. And also the Ioniums that I've got in here, these have also done well throughout the winter. There's another small agave and also a few cacti in here. And also the dahlias are doing quite well. Some of them now are starting to push through the soil. So as soon as they start pushing through, I've started to water those ones. The oleander that I've got in the corner here of the greenhouse, that will soon be coming out now into this warmer weather. And just look at the new growth now coming on this plant here. And it's lovely to see now the new leaves just emerging through in this warm sunshine. And a quick update now on the Dicksonia antarctica, and just look at them there, ready now to unfurl. It's like a wheel, and all the other ones behind now are getting ready to follow. Lovely. Now the bargain tree fern, this has got, well, I can see 2 fronds coming out of this. So all is not lost, it has survived. So fingers crossed, after a good feed now, this will be doing just fine. Now I do want to come out in the next week or so and just have a little bit of a feed in the garden, just to feed the palms, and I'll be doing another video on that just to show you exactly what I use on these plants. The cycas has done quite well throughout the winter. This just had a little bit of fleece just popped in the centre, but it has survived. There's a little bit of browning, but just look deep inside that border there. There's a lovely brunnera at the back, and that is not got a blemish on it. Lovely. And just looking now at my shady border, you can see that all of my ferns are definitely growing back there, and they're doing really well. Just look at that one there. Beautiful. And even the deciduous ferns are coming back now in new growth after I trimmed them back. And in the pot outside the greenhouse, I've got a pittosporum, and I noticed for the first time some tiny little red flowers just appearing on that plant, and I've never seen any flowers on this before. So tucked in the very bottom of the garden we have a hog house, so I don't think there's anything in that at the moment, but I have just turned that around to face the front. And this hosta here in the pot, that's much more advanced than the other hostas that I've got, and that's really pushing out now with some beautiful green leaves. And just look at that, not a blemish on them. The slugs haven't got to it yet. So thank you so much for joining me in the garden today, and if you haven't already, please like, comment and subscribe, as it really does help the channel to grow. And join me next time where I'll be feeding some of these lovely palms. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Bye for now.